Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to the channel. If this is your first time, this is a very hot day at the minute. So I think we are going to get a hot summer. But yeah, the day I'm filming this is 27 degrees, which is 80 degrees Fahrenheit. So I'm baking. But I really wanted to do this video. I've been wanting to do this video for a while, but I've been spurred on and kind of brought into focus because of a recent purchase, which I'm going to talk about. But basically this video is celebrating 10 different short story collections. So I love short stories. I think short stories are very, very special. If I think about my favorite stories, a lot of them are short stories. Some of them are novels, but a lot of them are short stories. And there's something very special about the art of writing a good short story. So some people think you can't get good characterization in it and can't put a lot of layers in it. I just don't think that's true. Depends on the story and how short it is. But also some people can do incredible work with just 5-6 pages. So I do think that the short story gets maligned sometimes for the wrong reasons. And sometimes if someone gets a collection and they like I don't know, 80% of the stories, but some of them they don't like, they'll be like, oh, it wasn't great because some of them I didn't like. And people are always after perfection, and sometimes they can undersell how brilliant the really good stories were in that collection. But obviously over time, classic short stories get anthologized a lot and get put into different collections. And if you had a collection of just one author, sometimes they have certain stories that come up a lot. So I thought it'd be really nice to talk about 10 different collections. Now, the thing with these collections, I'd say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5.5. I'd say about half of them with, I don't know, I have to look more carefully. Maybe 6 of them I've read, some cover to cover, some most of. But they're very big. Some of them are very big books. And there's a few that I've only read bits of. So, you know, full disclosure, I'm not an expert on all 10 of these, but I definitely would recommend them for reasons that go beyond whether or not I've read every story. So, for example, I know enough about the authors that are in the stories to know that they chose the authors well. And some of them I've heard of the stories if I haven't read the stories themselves, and they've been recommended to me or just known about them over the years. So there's a little bit of that going on as well. But hopefully you'll be inspired to read some short stories and maybe look at these collections once I've finished. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 collections that are anthologies, and then I've got 3 collections that are just focusing on one author. So they're collections of that author. So I think they're all absolute prized possessions in my collection. And as I said, one of them literally arrived today, and I'm very excited to get it. So I'll start with that one. So coming up soon is Rocket Summer, and Rocket Summer is celebrating classic science fiction, and science fiction was built on short stories. So many of the classic authors that created the tone, the feel, the subject matter, the settings, the exploratory elements of science fiction, they did that with the short story form. And actually some of the early novels that came out were actually fix-up novels where they put a bunch of stories together that had already been published and put a wraparound story around it and tried to make it one thing, which some were more successful than others. I do feel like the Martian Chronicles, you can feel that was a fix-up novel, Ray Bradbury's Martian Chronicles. I do think that's true of that. City by Clifford Simak, I think weirdly that works a little more successfully as a fix-up novel. But both of them were originally just short stories that weren't necessarily connected in the same way. So this first anthology I wanted to show you, so the Wesian Anthology of Science Fiction, I've got this from eBay. It said very good condition. Oh my God, it's like brand new condition. It's just beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. When you have a book like this, you just don't want it to, you don't want to just interfere with it. You don't want to, as soon as I proper get into it and start reading it, this is going to get creased and, you know, it's not going to be perfect anymore. But I was attracted to the Georges Méliès reference here, which is just glorious. I'm a big Georges Méliès fan. So that was really cool. But Pat from Book Chat with Pat was talking about this, and it's something I knew about before but hadn't got around to getting. And I looked up the stories, and it really is a fantastic collection. So a lot of these I've read. So this is going to be filling in some gaps, but also I'm going to be rereading some stuff as well. It's very interesting, the fact that it's got two different contents pages. It goes chronologically first, then it goes thematically, which I think is a very clever thing to do. But yeah, I mean, literally every famous science fiction author you can think of is in here. So Jules Verne, H.G. Wells. I'm going to just run through very quickly some of them. C.L. Moore, Asimov, Simak, Sturgeon, Judith Merrill, Fritz Leiber, Ray Bradbury, Arthur C. Clarke, Robert Shekeley, Alfred Bester, Caldwell Smith, Robert Heinlein, J.G. Ballard, Har Ellison, Frederick Pohl, Philip K. Dick, Samuel Delany, Silverberg, Aldous, Le Guin, Frank Herbert, Stanislav Lem, Joanna Russ, James Tittery, William Gibson, Octavia Butler, Pat Cadigan, Kate William, Bruce Sterling, Gene Wolfe, Jeff Ryman, and Ted Chiang. Exhalations in there as well. I mean, you know, I've just skimmed, I've missed a few out, but honestly, it's such a great collection. So I'm going to be reading 8 stories from this, at least, but 8 stories from this during Rocket Summer with Pat. So we had a little chat earlier, and we've chosen 8 stories we're going to read together, which is really nice. It's like sharing the book. But it really is a great collection, the Wesian Anthology of Science Fiction. So, and it's got 6 editors, which I think is an interesting element to the book. Like, those are the 6 editors. Okay, next one. I've picked this one next because it's probably my favourite anthology. I love this book. It's so cool. And this is edited by John Joseph. Hold on, what? Can't even see that. Yeah, of course. John Joseph Adams. John Joseph Adams, he's done a few different anthologies. He's very good at editing anthologies. But this is such a good one. Brave New Worlds. And this is kind of a short story, dystopian, dystopian stories by, and it's got these authors here. And some of my favourite stories are in here. So as you can see, you've got Kate Wilhelm, J.J. Ballard, Ursula K. Le Guin, Orson Scott Card, Cory Doctorow, Neil Gaiman, Kim Stanley Robinson. I know Ken Liu's in here. I think, Shirley Jackson's The Lottery's in here. I'm pretty sure Har Ellison's in here. Yeah, Repent Harlequin said The TikTok Man is in here by Har Ellison, which is my favourite Har Ellison story. Philip K. Dick, The Minority Report. Silverberg's Caught in the Organ Draft. A fantastic J.G. Ballard story is in here called Millennium. There's so much good stuff in here. It's a really good book. Really recommend this. Honestly, it was just like hit after hit after hit when I read this. Brave New Worlds, brilliant anthology. And we can turn to horror for a second. I recently re-bought this, and this is edited by Kirby McCauley, but it's got a fantastic selection of stories in it. Dark Forces. It came out in the 80s. And if you have a look at the names there, you've got Ray Bradbury, Ramsey Campbell, Robert Bloch, Edward Gorey, Joyce Carol Oates, T.D. Klein, Richard Matheson, Carl Edward Wagner, and Stephen King. Stephen King's stories, The Mist. It's a really good collection, and it's got some absolutely brilliant stories in here. So, The Brood by Ramsey Campbell, Where the Summer Ends, Carl Edward Wagner, The Late Shift by Dennis Etchison, that's good. Lisa Tuttle's in there, Where the Stones Grow, Night Before Christmas by Rob Bloch, Touch of Petulance by Ray Bradbury, Joe Haldeman's in there as well, Charles L. Grant's in here. It's such a good collection. So I would recommend that one as well for a horror collection, Dark Forces, that's quite old now, but it's a brilliant collection. This was a fantastic collection that I'll still say that I'm grateful to Michael K. Vaughan for sending me this. So it would be remiss of me to mention this and not mention that he sent that through as part of an amazing package. But it's American Supernatural Tales is such a good collection. And again, this goes right back, but it travels through a lot of decades. So this features Washington Irving, Nathaniel Hawthorne, Edgar Allan Poe, Henry James, Lovecraft, Clark Ashton Smith, Robert E. Howard, Robert Bloch, August Derleth. I need to read that one because the Lonesome Place was recommended by Randy Ray. I haven't read that yet. Fritz Leiber, Ray Bradbury, Shirley Jackson, Richard Matheson, Charles Beaumont, Stephen King, Dennis Edson, Thomas Ligotti, Carl Edmund Wagner, David Shaw, who I think is really good, and Joyce Carol Oates again. You know, it's such a good collection. And it also looks beautiful. So, and I just love the way the paper looks as well. It's just awesome. But yeah, that's a really good collection as well. So I definitely recommend that. So back onto science fiction for a moment, just for one collection, which I want to go through story by story soon. But I have read some of these already, but I want to take it story by story because it's such a brilliant collection. It's huge. It's just under 1,000 pages, so it's 950 pages or something. And it's the Time Travel's Almanac, the ultimate treasury of time travel short stories. Anne and Jeff Vandermeer are the editors, and it goes right back. It's got so many different great people in it. There's a huge list there of the people that feature in it. And it's just an absolute treasure trove, as it says. And I love this book. It's brilliant. I also love the fact that there's butterflies all over the cover, which is clearly a reference to the butterfly effect. The butterfly effect was a phrase that came out of A Sound of Thunder, which is my all-time favourite short story written by Ray Bradbury. And that'll be in here because that's all about that classic moment when the hunter hunting dinosaurs treads on a butterfly and changes the future. So yeah, I love time travel. I know Moyd from Media Death Cult. I don't know if you watch his channel, but I'm a big fan of his channel. He often says, I bloody love the end of the world. When he talks about any post-apocalyptic stuff, he always says, I bloody love the end of the world. I bloody love time travel. I love time travel. I absolutely love it. I've done 2 big videos on it. I'm going to carry on doing time travel videos, but this is going to be a focus for me at some point. It's a brilliant anthology that I need to absolutely know every single story in it, but I know a lot of them. This was an interesting find for me. This is where I'm now going into non-genre science fiction stuff. The Penguin Book of the Modern American Short Story, edited by John Freeman. This was a really nice find. I did a little video on this at the beach. I don't know if you saw it, where I asked people to recommend short stories. And had some really good recommendations. And, you know, this has got Percival Everett, Tim O'Brien, Karen Russell, George Saunders, Alice Walker, Ken Liu, Elsa K. Le Guin, Stephen King, Jamaica Kincaid, Charles Johnson, Raymond Carver, Ted Chiang, Lydia Davis, Lewis Erdrich, and loads of others. And it's a really interesting collection. I've already started going through it, and it's a really nice collection. So this is still available. I saw this on the shelves. I've bought this second hand, but I saw this on the shelves in Waterstones recently, so it's still around in paperback. So that's definitely worth delving into. And this is a fantastic find I found in New York. And I saw it and I thought, oh my God, 52 great authors, their best short fiction and their insights on writing. So this not only has the short stories by mega famous authors, it's also got them writing about writing, which is always fascinating. This is called The Art of the Short Story. And as you can see, Dana Goya and R.S. Gwynn are the editors. And it's got a huge, interesting list of contributors. It's a big old tome. So this is, again, over 900 pages. But, I just passed Sonny's Blues, which is a fantastic story by James Baldwin. Loads of really good stuff here. I should just, like I did with the others, I should just quickly go through the authors. What we got? Alice Munro, Flannery O'Connor, Joyce Carol Oates, Edgar Allan Poe, Leo Tolstoy, John Updike, Alice Walker, Edith Wharton, Virginia Woolf, Jack London, Doris Lessing, D.H. Lawrence, huge names, Herman Melville, Mishima, Franz Kafka, interesting choice, well, it's got the Metamorphosis, but also Before the Law, which I think is interesting. Henry James, Ernest Hemingway. You get the point. This is only half of it. Ralph Ellison, William Faulkner, Scott Fitzgerald, Gabriel Garcia Marquez, Gogol, Joseph Conrad, Raymond Carver, Albert Camus, Borges, Chekhov, Kate Chopin, Margaret Atwood, tons and tons of people. So this is clearly going to be a huge education. It's going to be really enriching that side of it. There are definitely some holes in there as far as our authors I haven't read yet, but there are lots of favourite authors in there already that I've mentioned, and it's just lovely, the idea that they're going to talk about writing the short story as well. So this is a great find, so thoroughly recommend that as well, and have been reading that one. So just to finish off, 3 collections that are just focused on one author. So just to start off with, arguably my favourite author, but it's just a glorious collection. There's about, I think I counted 73 stories, I think it is. The Everyman collection of Ray Bradbury stories. The stories of Ray Bradbury there from the Everyman's Library. This is a beautiful collection. It's got all the ones you'd expect. It's a really good collection, and he excelled in short stories. He did write some great novels. Something Wicked This Way Comes, I think it's a masterpiece. I've read it 4 times. Love it. I'm going to read it again soon with some people buddy reading it. And Fahrenheit 451 is also a masterpiece, and I'm going to be reading Dandelion Wine soon. He's just an amazing writer, but he is an absolute craftsman as a short story writer, and he had a huge influence on Stephen King and lots of the great modern short story writers. You can tell that his stamp is on there as well. So Ray Bradbury, the Everyman collection, it's really nice. So definitely recommend that. If you're gonna, there's so many different books that are his collections, that's a really nice one to get if you want to just go out and get a big one. And I think that's better than, there's like a 2-volume set you can get as well, and I think that's better. This is a little bit more niche, but I have to say, this is another one of my favourite authors. I absolutely love this man and would recommend his stuff. The Mask of Manana, Robert Shekeley. I was so shocked to find this. I didn't know there was a collection like this around. Found this in New Orleans last year. And this is over 560, this is 560 something pages. And there's loads of stories in here. And I am a Robert Shekeley completist, so it was really good that this was a chance to get something I hadn't seen before. There's about 40 stories here, but loads of the good ones are in there, and yeah, thoroughly recommend it. So Robert Shekeley collection there, definitely recommend that. And then just to finish off, the big man, the man who spent most of his career writing short stories, and I think has probably suffered for it as far as general fame. I think in the science fiction world, where he wrote mostly, although he didn't like calling himself a science fiction writer, but in the science fiction world, he's very known because he's had so many awards and he's mentioned so many times. But I think in general, his general fame has been affected by the fact he's mainly a short story writer. But it's Har Ellison, and this is the 50-year retrospective called The Essential Ellison. There's a 35-year one over there as well, but they repackaged it as a 50-year one. If you can get this one, it's slightly bigger. I think it's got an extra 300 pages or something, from what I remember. This is huge. This is, 1,230 something pages. And it's got his non-fiction in it as well, but it has got tons and tons of his great short stories in there. And I guess if you think, how can I get that, Gareth? What are you talking about? There is this, which is the recently released greatest hits, which is a really good collection, which is his most awarded short stories. So this is worth getting, to be fair. So this is easier to get because it's available now, which was lovely. So they decided to release something by Har Ellison, and hopefully this won't go out of print. But this has got some of his most famous stories, most of his most famous stories. Boy and His Dog is not in there, but I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream is in there. Repent Harlequin, Said the TikTok Man, so many others. And yeah, it's a great collection. So there is that as well. So I just added that at the end there because, you know, the other one might be harder to find. So there we are. Short stories, they're amazing. And there is a craft to it. There's a way of writing that some authors don't do so well with short stories. I'd say John Wyndham's one, actually. I think John Wyndham's amazing. He's one of my favourite authors, but I don't think he's as good with short stories. And there's probably others as well, if I thought about it. But there are people like Stephen King that can do both. They can do long novels and they can do short stories really well. So he's clearly just a versatile writer. But, you know, I think there is a particular way that you hone in on a story and you can get great characters out of it. You can get a great character in the prose as well, not just the characters, but you can get a great character in the way you're writing it as well in a short story. And you can write something unforgettable. And so many times, some of those authors that I've mentioned already have done something unforgettable with the short story form. So let me know below what your favourite short stories are. I'd love to know what your favourite short stories are. And I will be doing other videos about short stories because I think they're the best. Thank you so much for watching. Stay curious, everybody.
Paint me a picture of what it's like to be